Well, a couple weeks ago, I was at a GameStop and I was talking to a guy who's been gaming since the 70s and the store clerk that was there. And we were talking about bad games. Like, what games that were just really bad that we've played? And I had said that Bubsy 3D, hands down, worst game. In fact, all you guys know how much the Bubsy series has haunted me. So, he brings up a game called Rascal, saying that that game was the worst game ever made. And you know what? I will be the judge of that.
This game was developed by Traveler's Tales. Nowadays they're good developers, but back then they were very, very hit or miss.
And this game is such a miss that it's not even in the ballpark.
I wish I had the instruction manual because I have no idea what the fuck is going on. This game makes absolutely no sense. I went to GameFAQs to get some idea of what to do, and there's nothing. There's a walkthrough, but I don't use walkthroughs for my reviews. From what I gather, you play as some kid whose scientist father is kidnapped by the Master of Time for some unknown reason. It's an unknown reason because the bad guy who can travel through time and is messing up the past wants the scientist's time machine to travel through time to take over the universe. And he leaves the time machine behind.
I'm going to repeat that because it bears repeating. A time-traveling bad guy is changing the past and kidnaps a scientist to use the scientist's time machine that the bad guy leaves behind so he can change the past to conquer the universe. How does that make sense?
And your only weapon is a toy gun that shoots bubbles, and it's completely useless. The blue bubbles are short range, the green are long range, and the red are long range homing bubbles. Graphically, it looks more complete than Bubsy 3D. At least there's textures on the environment. But the main character looks like a pile of shit with a baseball hat on. I know they were going for a cartoon look, but they really failed at that. And now that I think about it, Bubsy 3D had better graphics. At least you could kinda tell what things were. In Rascal, you can't tell what anything really is until it's in your face. And the music sounds like that it was meant for the Super Nintendo, not the PlayStation. You use the time machine.
You know, the one that the bad guy wanted and left behind after he kidnapped the scientist?
To travel to 6 different worlds. The game gives you 3 lives and no continues. So if you die, it's game over and back to the start. But every 2 levels, your extra lives are reset back to 3. And I've only found 1 extra life in the stages, and there's no other way to get extra lives. I actually tried to make a save file for this game, but when I did, the game locked up and said that there was no controller connected.
How is that even possible? I had to walk up to the thing to save my game. How can you say there's no controller?
There are so many things wrong with this game, it's a wonder that Traveler's Tales and Psygnosis didn't go out of business. This is another one of those games that game design schools need to have as an example of what to avoid when making a game. Oh, where to start, where to start. Well, I suppose I could talk about the controls and how abysmal they are. X jumps and pressing it again in midair will make you slam on the ground. And square shoots. That's it. Now, controlling the character is a feat all in its own. It's insanely difficult. Up is forward and always forward. Down is back, and left and right rotate the character left or right. So turning is very, very haphazard. And when you turn, it's a very wide turn. And the controls are very slippery. It's like walking on banana peels the whole time. The game has no clear objective. It tells you nothing and gives you no hints at all. So if you don't have the manual, you are completely on your own, although I'm wondering if the manual even tells you what to do. After the really, really bad intro cutscene, the game immediately starts off with the player in the room and the game doesn't even tell you where to go. Not even a hint. The camera is probably your worst enemy. There's absolutely no way to control it.
And this game was made in 1998, a time where L2 and R2 were being tailored for camera controls by nearly every game in the industry.
The camera will do anything it wants regardless of what you want. The only real way to control the camera is by turning and moving the character until the camera is where you want it. This gun is the worst weapon I've ever seen, and these bubbles do almost no damage. And it runs out of long-range ammunition really quickly, and the ammo pickups give you practically nothing. And when you're out of ammo, you switch to the unlimited short-range bubble.
And good luck aiming that thing, because even if you do hit your mark, guess what? It's not going to matter. Why? Because sometimes the game doesn't register the enemy taking a hit. But guess what? It'll always register you taking a hit.
And the enemies just wander about until you get too close before they go on the attack. But enemies like spiders and rats just randomly spawn and spawn infinitely. And it's best to use the ground stomp to kill them, as your gun will never hit them. The enemies will sometimes drop ammo and power-ups, but they can and will drop items that, if touched, will cause you to take damage, and sometimes these items are scattered in the level, and you can't tell them apart from the regular items that replenish your health. The jumping is wonky. It's somewhat floaty and slippery, so landing will be a bit of an issue, as you kinda have to guess where you're going to land, because you won't know, as the camera will be focused on your ass while you're in the air. You can take quite a bit of damage before you die, but there's rarely any health pickups, and the amount they replenish is random, mostly restoring just a little bit. What's strange is that lava will cut your health in half before killing you, but in this one area with the dragon, the lava does considerably less damage here. But the dragon isn't even a boss, at least I don't think it is, because after I killed it, there's still more level to go. And where does this level end? I feel like I've been running around in circles this whole time. A mini-map would be nice. At least I would have some idea where to go. Hell, I'll settle for arrows that just tell me where to go.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but this game is worse than Bubsy 3D. It is completely unplayable. There's no clear defined objective other than save the kid's dad, and other than that, it's just aimless wandering around.
If there was a way to know what to do, it wouldn't be that bad. Well, it'd still be bad, because the controls are broken to dust. The level design is just thrown together. In this medieval time period, they haphazardly added dragons, knights, and whatever relevant to the time period. And really the only good thing about this game is that it runs at 60 frames per second, which is unusually high for the PlayStation.
But I'm not going to change my rating system because of this. I don't think that this game is just as well known as Bubsy 3D. It's like it's an unfinished prototype that they just snuck into the stores. It's too bad to play, but it's just too rare to know about.